Hello everybody, this is Brian Huckins. I'm here today on vacation, but I still want to reach out to you guys and make sure you guys have a little understanding about what's going on with the Children's Department at Nami. Once again, I'm Brian Huckins. I'm the Director of Children and Youth Programs. We are doing lots of work and we have expanded really fast since I started a little over 2.5 years ago. Currently we have 15 positions working with family peer support. This is folks who have lived experience, who are working with families directly on a daily basis. These are families who raised a child who has a mental illness. Right now we are working with several different programs and billing options. The major billing option, of course, is Medicaid, which started last July of 2018. And so we're about 1 year into Medicaid billable service. It has had many ups and downs, and some tremendous process we've had with supporting over now 230 families across the state with family peer support as part of wraparound service. Some of the things that we do in family peer support is we really develop leaders. We develop family members to be able to lead their own services, and we help the children also to lead their own services, which is in support to the wraparound process of ultimately guiding a family to build upon their strengths, to be family-led and youth-directed in their services. Our ultimate goal, of course, is to make sure that families are as independent as possible when it comes to their services. And we often work with family members who have significant struggles when they're first working with them. Some of the eligibility criteria for the children with statewide services for what we call Fast Forward, which is part of this service, is serious emotional disturbance as a diagnosis, Medicaid eligibility. These children are also working with multiple agencies and have at risk of psychiatric hospitalization or had multiple psychiatric hospitalizations. They're also working, like I said, with many different agencies. Like they could be working with the mental health agencies, the primary care. They could potentially work with DCYF, juvenile justice. All those factors are potentially possible. These are considered the highest level folks, that most intense folks are considered tier 3 of the system of care pyramid. So when we start working with these folks, these are really intense situations, and we work with them for the most about 12 months to 18 months at the most. So we're really getting in there intensively, working with them several times per week, and we're developing as many services and supports around them to be sustainable over a long period of time. The ultimate goal is to have as many natural supports around the family, so that way they can rely upon those natural supports not only now but in the future, as long as they can. So we also have wraparound services and family peer support services in the Cheshire County, Greater Monadnock region. We've had this SAMHSA grant with them doing wraparound and family peer support for nearly 3 years now, and we'll be embarking upon our last year of this grant unless there's an extension year. The eventuality of that grant will also be a Medicaid billable service over time, but for now we'll continue to build this Monadnock Region System of Care grant. And this year we're also working with the Department of Education, and it's a little bit all over the place with this grant. In Claremont, we're going to continue to do wraparound services straight with the school district. We're also going to continue to do that with Franklin, potentially with Berlin, and it's a little bit undecided what we're going to do with White Mountain. But with Winnisquam and Laconia and SA7, which is Colebrook, Pittsburgh, they're going to immediately look towards moving towards Medicaid billable services. So we'll be shifting some of those folks over right away. The other folks will be hanging on for another year as part of that SAMHSA grant with the Department of Education. One of our staff, Sandy Alonzo, also does some direct service work with the Department of Education as part of this grant, and she'll be doing some dual capacity framework work with the Department of Education this year, working more on this Tier 2, even Tier 1 folks So trying to get ahead of the system and work with them as soon as possible, and to ensure that people are getting services earlier and earlier. We're doing a couple other projects with IDN, the Integrated Delivery Networks. One is in Nashua. Heidi Canton is doing some work there, working with children, same support, family peer support, but this extends all the way to age 26. So we're looking to have some folks actually transition, support them through transition age after 18, all the way up to age 26, to help them really be supported well in the Nashua IDN area. And we're collecting data and seeing how that goes, and we're really hopeful as to how that support's going to last over time. We'd like to see that expanded further throughout the state. And we also have a thing that we're working with the Nashua IDN and actually Capital Region IDN called CMT alerts that we're about to begin. This will happen every time somebody gets an admission that is part of our clients to a hospital. We'll receive an alert to say that they're at the hospital, and we'll also receive their discharge plan and plan of care in the future when they're discharged. So this will help us be able to support the family in real time, and also help the family, especially when it comes to any concerns around suicide or aggression or harmful to themselves or others, that we can really support them, and especially to potentially remove items, weapons and things like that away from their homes if they're having these concerns, and to really have great outreach and immediate outreach to support them in the best ways possible. Capital Region IDN is another unique project where we're working with Rebecca Bennett is working with mothers with addiction, actually working with families before their child is born. So we're trying to support a mother through transition of childbirth, and also through their addiction process, and all the way through birth and all the way up to age potentially 6 with them. We're having tremendous success, but at the same time lots of challenges with this population. Unfortunately, lots of cancellations that we're seeing with these folks, but at the same time too, though, we're seeing things that really work well in being able to support families, and especially these moms who have unfortunately burnt a lot of bridges and have lost a lot of natural supports along the process in this. But through our work and wraparound process and Rebecca's work with family peer support, we're really able to build those bridges back and bring some of the natural supports back into place. So we're seeing tremendous growth. One final thing I want to say is the family networking grant that we're working with. Michelle is leading this for us. She's a family networking grant through SAMHSA, and also a family networking grant expansion grant. She's doing tremendous outreach to families, and we're seeing lots of progress with families supporting mental illness and children, and getting out there and really doing lots of engagements through lots of community engagement opportunities. We've seen great things happen in Claremont, Keene, all the way up to Colebrook. We've done screenings of the screening called ANCS. We have tremendous support that the communities have come out and shown support to see this, and really have shown that the support for mental illness is really necessary, especially when it comes to children. We had another great event in also Oyster River and Derry too this past year. So really working hard and having a tremendous group. Finally, to say the Parents Meeting the Challenge groups are working well, and we've had several of these over the past couple of years through our System of Care grants. But our System of Care grants are beginning to end, and so as we look forward to future needs, we're going to have to figure out how we're going to fund these Parents Meeting the Challenge groups, which lead to support groups for children. These are all great things that we're working on. But as we continue to grow, we expect Medicaid, fast forward services and family peer support services to continue to grow this year. Like I said, we're supporting over 230 family members, 230 individuals right now, over 600 family members. We expect that to increase by at least another 100 individuals this year. So we'll continue to grow, and we're looking to potentially anywhere from 5 positions new this year if we continue growth. So that's Children's for you, and thank you for your time, and feel free to email me any questions you have, and I wish I could have been there in person. Have a great day.